cathedral windows that I created using only Dollar Tree products. I'm pretty proud of it. It only cost me $3. It was time consuming, but in the end it was well worth it. And if you guys stay till the end of the video, I actually show you guys how I added decorations to this to make it really pretty for Christmas. So here are the products that I'm going to be using. I got this basket from Dollar Tree. It looks like it was from Easter. It still has an Easter tag on it. I do want to tell you guys later on in the video, I will be using a different basket. It's going to be, it's actually going to have a little bit of red on it. It's the same material. I got that basket from the secondhand store. It's actually cheaper than $1. The reason why I ended up having to use a different basket is because the Dollar Tree only had 2 of these baskets, and I ended up making 3 of these cathedral windows. So one basket will actually complete an entire window. And here I'm also going to be using this tube stone from Halloween. What I'm going to do is actually take a box cutter and just cut out the inside of this tube stone. And I'm actually going to cut the bottom edges off as well. And what I'm going to do with this piece that I'm cutting off that's across the bottom is I'm going to make it longer because it's not as long as I would like to be. And I actually want to be able to stand it up and it to be a little taller than what it is right now. Here you see I'm cutting it open and cutting it carefully along the edges. I'm using this ruler just so I can make even lines and cut them nice and straight. Once I get it all cut out, I'm going to extend the bottom as I described in the first video. You can see I'm cutting along the edges here and using a pencil also to mark where I want it cut out at and how thin I want it, because I'm going to be using popsicle sticks to cover the back and I don't want it to be too thick. The foam needs to be cut down just a little bit in order for the popsicle sticks to fit perfectly onto it. Once I get it all cut down and shaven evenly across on both sides and it's thin enough, what I'm going to do is I'm going to start assembling it, cutting the bottom here so I can make it a little bit longer, just using that foam as best as I can to get it as long as I would like it to be. Now that I have it all cut out and shaped up the way that I want to, I'm going to start taking the basket apart. Now this is very easy. I just cut it on one end and started unraveling it, and once you get into the flow of things, it just comes right apart. Now they are a little bent up because obviously they've been in the same position for quite a while. So what I did for this is I just took an iron and some wax paper and straightened it out. Use the iron and that heat to get it to flatten out a little bit. So when I lay it across my foam, it lays nice and straight. If not, if you skip this step, you might have a few lumps in the window and it just doesn't look all that great. Now that I got that all ironed out, I'm actually going to start placing these pieces on here. And what I did is just lay them down with a little bit of hot glue and then cut out the edges that were hanging off. And I do this until the whole thing is complete at the top. Once I got towards the straight pieces, what I started doing was actually just cutting pieces off, a bunch of them at a time, because I'm actually going to have to line the insides of this window as well with the small pieces. And I'm just going to continue to lay until everything is nice and covered up. Now I'm just about done covering both sides, and now that we are to that point, what I'm actually going to do is pull in the popsicle sticks. This is going to cover a lot of space and save a lot of time. I did it on 3 sides, so the only side that is showing the small pieces is the front side. This is a different clip, guys. I do apologize for my recording skills. By this time, the top was already covered. This is just a piece where I jumped ahead of myself and wanted to make sure that sticks were going to work, and they actually ended up working out perfectly fine for me for the front, the back, and the side. Now, I do suggest using a paint that is similar to the color of whatever you want your cathedral window to end up being in order to cover up those black spaces in between. And here is the finished product, all 3 of them together. And what I did to make the larger one longer was I took that extra foam that I had from the center and just added it onto the bottom because I wanted one to stand out taller than the other 2. The other 2 are just about the same height. Now, in order to make these a little more festive, what I did was I used my Cricut to cut out a nativity set. And I'm actually going to place that behind these windows. And I think it's going to make a really cool effect. I did end up cutting out 3 different scenes. In the middle, we have Mary, Joseph, and the baby Jesus. On the side, we're going to have some farm animals. And on the other side, we're actually going to have the 3 wise men. Now, if you don't have a Cricut machine or access to a printer, because you can easily print this picture out and just cut it out just as well, the Dollar Tree does have a bag with this scene on it. And it's very big and beautiful, and it'll work perfect for this project. I'm also adding these long wooden dowels. I believe they're the barbecue skewers. I think that's what they're called. I got them from the dollar store. They're super long and skinny sticks, and they're round, and I thought they'd be perfect to fill in the background. Also, excuse my hands, they're extremely dry. I've been washing them like crazy, and so right now I have a coat of Eucerin lotion on them. Hopefully it absorbs it really nicely. And here's the final look. We have our nativity scene. On to the final look. I'm actually going to do a floral arrangement on the windows. And on the first one, it's going to have 2 different arrangements that I did get from the Dollar Store. They're super cute. I love the detail that they have on them this year. And then for the ones on the side, I'm actually just going to use 1 floral piece and just fill it in the best way that I can. Sorry again for my filming here. It's kind of out of the window of opportunity. But I will show you guys in this last clip what it came out to look like in the end. It came out to be very pretty. I did have many different ideas on how I wanted to lay the flowers, so I kind of just played around with it a little bit. I was gonna do 1 at the top, 1 at the bottom, but I decided in the end just to do 1 on each corner, so that when I stand them all up, it'll be 1 on each side of the windows. In the middle, of course, we'll have 2, and I thought that turned out to be really nice. Here is the final look. Isn't that beautiful? I love it. It's very festive. It reminds me of the holidays, and it can go with any decor. You can actually paint these white or stain them a brown if you like that deep brown wood. I just want to thank you guys for taking the time to watch this video. I hope you learned something. I do apologize for the ratchetness. It will get better. Stay tuned, and happy holidays.